So this is Revorec Recruitment Solutions and my name's Sebastian. We do weekly videos on the subjects of management and leadership, business and recruitment. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you won't miss out on any one of our videos. So with that, let's get to today's video. And today I want to talk about the 5 things that make great team culture. So the first thing is common vision or purpose. Now, teams themselves have often been focused on achieving set objectives and a set task. And I spoke about this in the previous video. What's important is that they understand what that vision is and it's common between the team. All of the team members need to understand what it is they're aiming for, what their purpose is and why they're trying to do it. And they need to be behind it. Now, it's important that the leader understands what this is and can articulate it with enough clarity, but also enough enthusiasm and belief to make it look like a plausible vision that the team can get behind. And it's got to be something that all of the team want to do. If your goal is, as a team, if you want to change the term of common vision to goal, for example, and it's something that isn't exactly very inspiring to those people, they're hardly going to want to get behind it. And you've got to bear in mind that to mould a team and get them to get behind what you want them to do, you have to have a common vision in the first place. Now, that common vision in different companies could be achieving a set target over a year. You might have a particular reward that will offer if they win a certain thing, hit #1 in the company, #1, region, #1 team, whatever it is. The most important thing here is that the leader is able to succinctly and clearly articulate the vision of what they are trying to do as a team and be able to communicate this on a regular basis so it reinforces it to the team. Now, this team needs to sit there and really get behind this. This is the skill of a leader. But if that team's going to have an effective culture, it needs to have a purpose. If the team does not have a clear vision of what it is trying to do, it does not have a clear purpose of what it's trying to do, you will have a team that has divisions, disparities. It won't be effective on a week by week or day by day basis. There'll be loads of mistakes because people won't know what they're driving towards. If you're coming in to do a particular job and you're part of a team, it's always going to feel a little bit better if you come in and you feel that what you are doing will have an end purpose that's greater than just the task you'll be doing or menial task you'll be doing on a day-to-day basis. If you can do that as a leader, you can end up having a team which can go places. That's the tough bit that a leader needs to do, and that's really what leadership's about. Gelling a team together and getting them to be able to reach set objectives by getting them to do things that they wouldn't be capable of or wouldn't realise they were capable of without that leader present. If you can do that, that's a fantastic environment to work within and it really sets the tone moving forward. The second thing I wrote was mutual trust and safety. Now, mutual trust and safety, what I mean by that is that the people within that team can look to the left and to the right of them and their team members and feel that they trust those people. If they don't have trust in those people, why would they sit there and do something that would contribute to the team if they're under the impression or suspicion that the people on their left or right wouldn't do the same for them? You see a lot of team building exercises that companies will have on these company away days and things like that built around the theme of trust. Now, you may have a particular opinion of whether those team building exercises work or not, but certainly trust building is very important in any team. You need to be able to make sure that the people around you can trust them, and they need to make sure that they can trust you equally. You need to feel safe in a cocoon with those people, and that safety net means that you can do things with confidence without being judged negatively, with being supported by the people around you, knowing that if you make a mistake, the people around you aren't going to chastise you for it, they're going to be behind you. And it's really, really important that those people trust and believe you as well, as much as you trust and believe in them. If you can get that clarified correctly within your team, you're really onto something. The third thing I wrote about was commitment. Unless you have commitment, any challenges you're going to have, any difficulties, and you will have inevitably difficulties within any one particular team, you have to bear in mind that over a long enough time period, there will be bumps in the road. If the team isn't committed and they're not in it for the long term, then you're going to have issues. You're going to have people going, oh, it doesn't feel for me anymore, or do you know what, I give up already, or yeah, you know what, I'd rather go and do something else, or this is all too much for me, or whatever. You have to have commitment within the team. And commitment itself towards a purpose, if you've really set a strong vision in there, if you've really set a strong level of trust where the people around them feel safe and they don't want to let the people around them down, then you're in a position where it's much easier to be able to build commitment within that team. But commitment is very much about creating commitment, not just for the short term, but for the long term, for the duration of the purpose and the vision and the goal of what you're trying to do. Otherwise, if commitment drops off in the middle of the period, you're not going to be able to get that achievement made at the end of it. That's the most important thing. It's all very well being committed to running the first 20 miles of a marathon, but if you give up at mile 21, you're never going to complete the marathon. Regardless, at the end of it, it's going to say you didn't complete it. And the thing is, it's the same with any goal, task, anything like that. If the task itself has good work up to it, but it doesn't have the final end pieces to it to actually complete it, the goal or the vision is never going to get there. So you need to make sure that the team is committed. They understand what it is they're trying to do and they're in it for the long term. It's really important from a leadership perspective that you spot any initial cracks within that team. If there's certain worries, certain concerns, and you will have this, don't judge people negatively for not having long-term commitment. People will find it testing. Commitment's testing, it's tough. That's why so many people give up on things, and it's so easy to give up on things. So the leader really needs to spot what those issues are when they are small acorn problems before they grow into big oak problems that kill your vision. The fourth thing that I wrote was fulfillment. Now, fulfillment itself is about the team members as individuals being fulfilled by what they are doing. If the goal of the vision is something that they don't care about, the team members that they have that they don't feel particularly trusting or safe in the company of, and they're not particularly committed to wanting to do it because of those factors, you're not going to have a very fulfilled workforce. You need the team of individuals to be fulfilled in what they are doing. Many jobs will have mostly menial tasks when you break it down. Many of the tasks you do, even in a more complicated job, many of them will be pretty minimal, pretty basic, and pretty menial when you think about it. If you're doing that same individual task on a repeated basis, it can be pretty soul-destroying and pretty boring. And if you think about it and just think, that's what I'm doing all day, I'm doing this particular task, that's hardly going to be very fulfilling, is it? What you need to do is have the concept and the idea of the bigger vision of what they are trying to do as the key bit that's fulfilling to them. Therefore, the menial tasks fade into insignificance. It's the bigger picture that matters to the individuals. That's what's the key part. They need to believe that what they are doing is something that matters. Fulfillment is about when the staff member gets up in the morning, right through to the time they go home at night, they are fulfilled by knowing that what they are doing on a day-by-day basis has a real purpose. The fifth and final thing that I wrote is common values. Now, common values themselves are a set of values that each team member naturally has. What I can never understand, and I deal with a lot of companies being a recruiter, is that many companies will first and foremost look at the skill set that someone has and almost ignore or don't even take into account what the values of that individual member is. And then what they try to do is they'll get a team together afterwards and try and find a way of making that culture fit together. That's in essence trying to put square pegs in round holes. Just because someone can do a particular task doesn't mean they want to do it. And if you're trying to build a team culture, realistically that means getting all of those people to work together correctly if you want it to be an effective team culture. If those people don't have common values, they don't have the same principles as each other, the same core values that are important to them, you're going to have a disengaged team. They won't work well together. You're going to have difficulties. And yes, there are ways of culture building exercises and all these things, but you can easily avoid all of those issues if you hire for values in the first place. Hire for values first, then find people within those values that have the minimum skills that you want. Don't hire for skills first and then try and find how you can work the values in after. Much harder. Now, in an environment where you're thinking, certainly for technical based jobs or certain industries, there are skill shortages. But trust me, when we advertise, the reason why we tend to find more people a lot quicker through advertising, whereas other companies in recruitment have moved predominantly away from advertising because they can't find anyone, is because if you put an advert out for a skill match, it doesn't interest someone. If you can do X, Y, and Z, and someone's going, can you do X, Y, and Z? Do you want a job doing X, Y, and Z? It's not really going to interest them in terms of what the job that they're doing is, because they can already do it. What's going to interest them is how much money there's going to be if that's the case. What's the elements that they can get out of that job that they don't have in their current job? Well, if you go and hire a bunch of people to do a job that are only there for the money, are they really going to be in it long term? They're going to have common values. They're going to tie into the common vision. They're going to trust and become, a big safety net to the people around them. Probably not. You can have a few difficulties if you do it that way. But if you hire people for common values in the first place and you advertise for common values, and that's what you look for when you're looking to recruit for staff members, certainly in permanent or long-term teams together, you can then attract people that will come out of the woodwork and going, do you know what? I can do this job, but this is what I've been looking for. This is it. That's how we build great teams. That's why as a recruitment company, we tend to get a lot better results than other recruitment companies in our industry. And the companies we work with get that. They recognize what we're trying to do and they recognize how we work. And that's how you get successful teams. What you want to do is hire first and foremost for the people that have the right values. If you've ever read the book Good to Great, you'll see a section in it that talks about getting the right people on the bus and getting the wrong people off the bus. That really means hiring for who, then what. So you are hiring people that are there because they have the right values, they're there for the right reasons, they're going to work well within that team. That's not a new thing. That book was written years ago in, I think, 2000, for example, and we're recording this in 2019. It's not new info, but the amount of companies that completely forget that, ignore it, or aren't even aware of it is unbelievable. That's where a lot of cultural issues stem from, because they've hired people for their skill sets and not for their values. Now, values are quite broad. You can sit there and some companies will talk about integrity, honesty, all of these things. If I'm being honest with you, whenever I see a mission statement, when a company talks about integrity, I think there was a survey that I read on Google that said about 60% of companies that have mission statements or value statements will indicate integrity in there. One of the core principles of Enron was integrity. Well, if you know the story of Enron, then they didn't have much integrity. So realistically, I wouldn't read too much into that one. Really, values in a company, when you think about it, should be more about having a sentence to indicate what that means to that particular company. So it might be, for example, a company that doesn't want people to have any egos within the business. It wants people to sit there and it's not about them, it's about the team. They might be a company which they have a big passion for charity work and they want people that have a side passion for charity work. There might be a company that's involved and likes to do a lot of social media content and wants people that really value the content of social media and wants to do that. They might have people that have a passion for marketing. They might have certain things in those values. They can be very broad, very diverse, but values within a company shouldn't be one word. They shouldn't be a generic word. They should be things that are important to the owner in the first place, the business person who starts the company, the director, the leader, whatever it is, and they are channeled down so that every staff member that is hired by that company, regardless of what department they're in, still is in essence that person when it comes to values. If you hire a team that has the right values in the first place, you will find that cultural side of things will work better after, performance will work better, staff loyalty, retention, they'll all be improved because you'll have a common set of values. And that safety net, that trust that I spoke about earlier is massively important within that, because all of those people will look around one another and know that all the other people share the same values. You trust people that are cut from the same cloth. Culture itself within a team is massively important. You're seeing a lot more written about it recently, a lot more attention to it. But do companies do enough on this? Is there enough understanding of it? Is there enough purpose put into it? Is a lot of it taught? Do companies actually value culture? Do team members feel generally fulfilled when working for a company? So we'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think makes a great team culture. Perhaps you disagree with what we've said today. Perhaps you think you can elaborate or build on the points that we made today. So don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to click the bell icon so you won't miss any one of our videos.